All right, today we're going to look at the last section in or in chapter 2, 2.6, looking at writing paragraph proofs. So our third way of writing proofs. But before we get started, let's start off with this warm-up. If you guys can go ahead and pause it and solve that warm-up, and then we'll get started. So first of all, hopefully we can make sure we get the diagram labeled correctly. And then having this entire angle being 11 over x. So we can add the two angles together. Set it equal to 11 over x. So now we need to multiply to get rid of all these fractions and the x in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything here by 12x. And so when I solve for this, I get x squared equals 12. And when I simplify that radical, I'm going to get x equals plus or minus 2 square root 3. But I cannot have a negative in this case because I cannot have a negative angle. So my final answer would just be x equals 2 root 3. So we're looking at paragraph proofs. We're going to be doing pretty much the same thing that we've been doing, same theorems we've been talking about, except we're going to be just adding and writing sentences to go along with our logic here. So when I look at this, I do first off notice the fact that angle 1 is mentioned here, both of these cases. So angle 1 is supplementary to 2 of those angles. So based off of what we've already talked about, I know that I can go straight to those two angles being congruent. But I need to write it out. So first off, it is given that angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary, and angle 1 and angle 3 are supplementary. So then I'm going to state since angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary to the same angle, and I'll just note angle 1. Then go to my conclusion. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3 by the same supplementary angle theorem. So I'm just writing things out and then again stating my final conclusion. Again, basically adding sentences to all this. I still need to state my givens, still need to go to how I'm proving what I am proving. Looking at the next one, looking at right angles here. So again, starting off with what I know first, I know that these two angles are both going to be right angles. So I will start off there since it is given that angles 1 and angle 5 are right angles. We know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 5 because all right angles are congruent. So now I've said something about 1 and 5. I'm then going to look at 5 and 8. I don't even need the fact that they are supplementary because I could also just look at that from the diagram. So we also know by definition of a linear pair, which I'm taking from the diagram, that angle 5 and angle 8 are supplementary. And then since I've already stated that angle 5 is a right angle and supplementary to angle 8, then angle 8 must also be a right angle. So now I have angle 8 as a right angle. I can also see in the diagram, looking at angle 1 and angle 3, because they are vertical angles. So I can also say angle 3 is also a right angle. Because it is congruent to angle 1 by vertical angles. And so now I have angle 3 is also a right angle. And so then I've now said angle 3 is a right angle. And I've said angle 8 is a right angle. So by the transitive property, connecting all my congruent statements, angle 3 is congruent to angle 8. Go ahead and finish this last proof on your own and submit your answer, and then we will talk about that at the beginning of class tomorrow.